On today's video, we're going to talk about tight on entry, on gas, off gas, tight on entry. This will cover every type of car we race on the racetrack. More on that when we get back. On this video, we'll discuss tight on entry, how to cure that problem, and what's causing that problem. And this will cover every type of race car that we basically see on the racetrack. Tight on entry. It's a huge problem. It's one that we deal with every single day. So let's get started. What causes tight on entry? Well, if you look at your car a little bit different, your car is all up in the rear going down the straightaway. But in reality, the weight transfers rolled to the rear of the car. So it's kind of like a lowrider or a donk. But I guess we'd call it a lowrider, where the nose is up and the tail is down. That's how the weight's transferred. So when you get to the corner and you turn the wheel, nothing happens. That's tight on entry. And that is tight in front of the car. We are not talking about, some guys will go, oh, my car is tight on entry because the tail end of the car doesn't break loose when they get off the gas. That's free roll steer. No, excuse me. That's auto turn or auto rotation. That's what that is. And auto rotation was something very needed in a leaf spring type car, where some of the 3-link cars of the day. But today, auto rotation is not what we're looking for. It is not how we turn a car getting into the corner. The car needs to turn on the steering wheel. And if it don't turn on the steering wheel, it's tight, and it's tight in the front. Okay. So let's try to solve, or let's first recognize, well, one of two things. Tight on entry on gas is different because it still has the weight transferred to the rear of the car. Tight on entry off gas means the car is already going from this position to this position. So we're driving that angle in the ground, or we're driving that angle out towards the wall. Okay, tight off gas means we're driving it out towards the wall. Our rear tires have a lot more energy than our front tires, and our car would respond better on brake pedal with brake load in the front tires. This would give the front tires energy. The rear tires have a lot of energy. Okay, in a lot of cases, hobbies, stock cars, B mods, crate cars, will be more tight on entry on throttle. So if you're big motor modified, big motor B mod type car, where you have to do a lot of braking getting into the corner, then you could be tight on entry off. Some of these things still apply, but you've got to make sure the rear of the car hasn't dropped like a rock. If it has, that's a lot of your problems, and we need to maintain the height of the rear of the car. So I'll put some links in below to other videos like the bite zone and understanding the bite zone, understanding what extended load does for the car. It's very important to understand that. So let's cover some of the things that we can do to fix tight on entry. And we're not necessarily going to say these are in order or in a order, because it kind of depends on what's going on with the car, what you're doing with the car in front and rear. Okay. So you may be doing one of these things in extreme and still be tight on entry. Okay. So not in no necessary order, but things you can do to fix tight on entry. Number one, spring rate. Soften the spring rate. Now, don't get confused. We are racing in a world right now where we're too soft on the springs. I see a lot of cars locally. We got a ton of guys in the stock cars, too light on springs. Okay, I understand that you've lightened the spring rate up, and all of a sudden you've had a car turn for the first time ever. So you think, well, if I took 100 pounds out, what happens if I take 300 pounds out? That ain't how it works. So let's not go there, even though we are probably already there. So Soften the spring means if I'm in a hobby and I'm on a 1200, softening the spring, getting away from that old school mentality that big right front spring builds left rear drive. Them days are gone, they're over. But I'm not saying we need to race on a 450. That's not the best either. And if you're in a stock car and you're on a 650 and you're struggling, you're not winning race after race after race, you're too soft. It's too soft. Even if you are winning a lot of races, it's too soft. Somebody on a stiffer spring rate is going to get it figured out one of these days, and they're going to whoop you, and you're going to struggle around for a long time on this soft spring deal. So, spring rate, we can soften the rate, which helps lower the car. Okay. Our problem is we've transferred too much weight to the rear, and we're up here trying to turn the tires, and nothing's happening. So, softer spring may mean that we start from a lower spot. We're a little deeper compressed and we don't pull it quite as much, so we have some grip left when we get there. Rebound. Number 2, rebound. Rebound can, adding rebound to the front of the car will help the car turn, but it also helps keep load on the front of the car. So we didn't transfer as much weight to the rear. So here again, we have something to turn on. Rebound can be done very well, and rebound can be done very poorly. And depending on how it's done will depend on how good your car turns on rebound. Do understand your car needs rebound, and it needs a decent amount of rebound, and it needs a decent type of rebound. A lot of cars I've seen lately by shock builders with lesser experience are building a lot of rebound. I've seen guys in 20, 22, 23 rebound. It's just crazy amounts of rebound. Okay. And it's more of a number, it's more of a marketing tool than a performance tool. And that's a lot where we're at with springs and shocks right now. It's more about making it sound better than it really is. It's making it's more about the talk than the performance. So rebound, make sure your guy understands what rebound is. So when you go to your shot guy and you say, what's my 0 point? What's my 1-inch number? How much bleed do I have? I need to know these things. I want to know these things, but more, I want to know if you know these things. That's more important. So if your shot guy blows you off or doesn't give you a real big answer or a real good answer, then maybe he doesn't know. Okay. Not necessarily means just dropping and come running. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe your shot guy needs to learn him a little more. Maybe you need to help him to learn a little more. Okay. I don't know where he's at. I don't know how that deal is going to roll out. But before you end a relationship with somebody that you're trying to build a relationship with, ask them these questions and see if they understand. And if they don't understand, yes, maybe it is time to advance you forward in your journey. But maybe that journey is with that guy. We'll just see. But rebound, very important. Quality rebound, super important. I can't emphasize it enough. Left rear drive. If you're tight, left rear drive is possibly the main reason. Left rear drive is one of the harder things you're going to give up. It's very hard for you guys to give up left rear drive. When you add right front rebound, you give up left rear drive. When you add drive, you give up right front rebound. You give up the car's ability to turn. So you're going to have one of two cars. Car goes straight with a lot of drive, or a car that turns with a lot of momentum. This is the decision you need to make. And when you make this decision, you need to drive that decision. Drive the car like it has rebound in it. Stop driving it like it's got drive in it and then complaining about the car's inability. So you got to drive it right. Left rear drive, like I said, is not what you want to give up, but you built so much left rear drive, you pulled all the load, you pulled every bit of nose out of that car, and now it won't turn. Braking on entry is not one of my 6 points, but a driving style is not one of my 6 points, even though driving style is huge in getting weight to the nose of the car. in being tight on entry. It's a lot of a driving style. But I'm going to leave driving styles out of this video and more to you guys. Okay, I do think at a later date we'll cover this in depth, and we might bring in some drivers and discuss with them different driving techniques to cover driving styles. Okay, um, it's a deep subject, a very deep subject, and it can be a very tough subject, and one that um, is done different by every single person out there, which is a mass problem that we have in our dirt track racing, is the wide variety of driving styles create a wide mass range of setups. So um, left rear drive is going to be one of the toughest things for you to take out. Ride height. Okay, often I see ride height. We used to see ride height as being an issue because it was too tall. Now we're seeing ride height being an issue because it's too short. So we're seeing a lot of cars nowadays that have very low ride heights and very soft springs. Okay, this combination does not work. The softer the spring, the higher the ride height, the stiffer the spring, the lower the ride height. Now we can throw one other thing in there to really mess this all up, and that's load. So if we increase our load, we can decrease our ride height. But if we increase our load, our ride height will go up. So in order to decrease our ride height and increase our load, we have to go to a stiffer spring. So I've had many conversations about this, and I've had guys tell me this is just wrong or this is right, but because of different experiences. So weigh out your experiences, make sure you understand how you're doing it, because ride height and load are very tricky subjects and are interpreted differently by different people. So they understand these things a little different, and that causes some problems in the how it's described, in the transaction, in the translation. It becomes fuzzy. So ride height, if we're say 8 inches, and on a modified, the center bolt, let's say we're 8 inches on a frame rail on a stock car. Okay, well, if we're needing to get the nose down, we can lower the nose down. If we have plenty of travel left on the shock, if we have plenty of travel left in our car, understand a metric car generally gets more travel than a Chevelle car. So a Chevelle car is going to run out about 3.5 inches, 4 if you're lucky, and you're going to be on the ground. Different cars have been modified, legal or not legal. Most of it's not legal because every sanctioning body that I'm aware of says it has to be a stock unmodified frame. So shaving the cross member is not legal, even though we race cars every week locally, every week that have shaved or sectioned frames. Okay, it's a very common thing. It's not legal, but it's a very common thing. But getting 4 inches doesn't mean you're better if you're not doing it right. So if your car can get travel, and I'm going to use one for an example that likes to have a lot of travel in the cars, and that's Rage. If your car's hitting the racetrack at any given point, you're killing speed. A mod, crate car, IMCA car, B mod, sport mod, you got to have a pretty big A mod to be able to plow the ruts and to skim them, not to get into one and get hung up and kill speed. You cannot afford to kill speed. And the big motor cars on some moisture can afford to do that a little bit because they can accelerate back up to speed pretty quickly. But all the rest of them cars, stock cars, hobbies, A mod, B mod, sport mods, you cannot afford 604 crate cars, whether they're IMCA cars or Crate Racing USA cars. You can't afford to lose that speed. Okay, I tell this to guys all the time. You're gonna do two things. You're gonna have drive or make mile an hour. And if you can't make drive, you can make mile an hour. So the one common is when you get to entry, you're going 80 miles an hour ish. depending on the car, but you're going pretty much top speed. So you have a choice: keep the speed or lose the speed. And if you lose the speed, you've got to make drive. And you got to be in a situation that everybody else is going to have to be doing the same thing, or you're going to get left behind. So if there's cars out there that can make momentum on the track and you decide to make drive, most odds are you're going to get beat. Okay, you're going to have to be exceptionally good or well or exceptionally above the curve to beat those people. So it can be done, but it's not the easy way of doing it. So ride height and spring rate go hand in hand. Very important that you get them two things right. Okay, you can be off a little on the rebound, or maybe even a little more than a little. You can be off on the rebound, but you better be right on the spring rate and the ride height. Okay, low and soft, very dangerous spot to be in. So be careful when you do that, because it can get you in a lot of trouble. And I've seen guys be in this trouble. I'm watching a guy that I used to help. He may know, if he watches our videos, he may figure out who he is. And I'm trying to help him, and I think he's raising his car up because his car looks better and better every week. So it's too low and it's too soft. And you might as well fix the rebound at the same time. So ride height, very important. Lead in front of the motor plate has been a subject that we've discussed probably every day for the last 6 years. Okay, we talk about it a little less, but I guarantee you it's brought up 3 times a week, if not 5. Lead in front of the motor plate fixes a lot of problems. Okay, I understand nobody likes putting it there. A lot of guys have worked very hard to get the cars light, but the lightness of the car is creating a lot of problems. And those problems are traction and the inability to turn. That's what the problems are. Yes, it's making maybe a snappier race car, but if you can't turn it on the front tires, you're limiting yourself to winning races. Okay, we want to be fast and we want to win. And that means to have a car that will turn, because we may not be the best on a restart, but we are going to be the best through the corner. And we are going to carry the most speed through the corner. And we are going to manipulate the corner the best on the racetrack, because this is where the speed is. And then I'm going to run to the other end and I'm going to do it again. And the guy that does that the best, I guarantee you, is the guy winning races weekly. Okay? Grip in the corner is very important. And when you're transferring that weight to the rear, you cannot turn. So you get to corner entry and you can't turn. 25, 30 pounds. I've had as much as 120 pounds of lead in front of a car, in front of the motor plate, in the frame rails, on the frame. I've had lead. I like it in the frame rails because it becomes more permanent. It's better. The lower you get it, the more right front centralized you get it, the better it gets. So if I can get lead in below the top of the spring and out against the frame rail, and I put 30 pounds in there, it's 30 pounds effective. We'll call it 29 pounds effective. Okay. If I move it up a little bit, it's 20 pounds effective. If I go to the frame upper dash bar, it's 15 pounds effective. Okay. Which means the higher it gets, the easier it is to mount, the more lead you need to mount. That's the truth. 30 to 50 pounds down low towards the right front will improve a race car dramatically. Dramatically. It's like adding rebound without hurting the car. It'll allow the car to turn. It will put a little drive back in the car. The closer we can shove it into that right front, the less weight transfer it is. So we're looking for a car that turns better without drive. I can put drive in the car. I can go back to the left rear and put all the drive in the world I need. I cannot put all the turn in the world I need. So when it comes to the front of the car and being tight, get drive out of your minds. Forget it. Let it go. Let it be, because we're not working on drive. We're working on turn. Car must turn, must turn. If it don't turn, you're just going to be tight. Okay. It's easy to make a tight race car. Very easy to make a tight race car. Wheel offset. Number 6 is wheel offset. What wheel offset am I running? Okay. Does a longer lower and a 1-inch spacer create load on the front? No. Does a 1-inch longer lower and a 1-inch wheel spacer and a 2-off wheel make a car turn better? No. Okay. Will any of that fix tight on entry? No. No. No, it won't. Some of it has meaning to the car. Okay. Probably for a different video. Some of it has meaning to the car. Some of it means that I'm going to be there long. Excuse me. Some of it means I'm going to be there longer on the right front. Doesn't mean it's going to turn better. Doesn't mean it's going to have more load. Spring ain't moving. Tire's moving away from the spring. The lever arm gets longer. The load gets less. Spring gets further away from the tire. You do the math. Does it lay there longer? Yeah. Does the turn stub lay there longer? Yeah. So if you've been in a turn stub car that's 2 inches turn, you know the disadvantages to it. And most of the advantages are washed out because you're looking for drive. So if you're still looking for drive, get that thing sucked back in there. Okay. There are some advantages to having the tire out, but don't get carried away. We focus on, hey, the rules say I can be 1 inch longer. So I'm going to be. The rules say 24 pounds. So I'm 24.01. Why are we always pushing it, deck height, pushing it right to the limit? Okay. A 1/4 inch lower deck height's not going to kill you. A 50-pound heavier car is absolutely not going to kill you. We don't have to push the rules all the time to make a better car. Okay. Wheel spacing is very important to the car. Having that, maybe for a whole different video, but having that right rear steered in the car, looking outside of that right front is good for the car. Moving that right front out should technically tighten the car up or allow the car to be more tailed out. Different video. But sometimes when we can't turn the front of the car, it's simply because we got the right front out there too far and we've lost the nose. We're laying on the nose too long. It becomes sloppy. Okay. We may put some stability in the car, but we got to turn. We got to turn at speed. So going back over it, not in any order: spring rate, rebound, right, left or drive, ride heights, lead in front of the motor plate, super good, and wheel spacing. Things to help make your cars tight. It's true for a hobby. It's true for a stock car. It's true for a B mod, sport mod, A mod, crate cars, cruiser cars, street stock cruiser cars. The car becomes tight because the rear has absorbed all the energy. There's no energy left in the front tires. Okay, all-wheel drive cars, super good because they got energy in the front tires. The rotation of the rear tires and the rotation of the front tires match. Okay, this is why all-wheel drive vehicles have such great grip. So it's a concept. Think about that concept when applying it to your car. Histogram in the front of these cars, highly important to making grip. We don't have histogram in the shocks. We don't have grip in the front of the cars. Okay, weight on the front tires is grip. Holding load from the spring in the tires is grip. Maintaining that load or releasing that load slowly over time is grip. This is what makes grip in the front of the cars. Base valve, SRTs make grip in the front of the car. Very important. It's very important if you're going to do base valve stuff that it's done right, because we see a lot of it every day. I talk to a lot of guys every day that don't have enough gas in their shocks, don't have enough gas in their base valve shocks. Okay, only shocks that can be zero gas or twin tube. And if you're running twin tube shocks, you're already at a huge disadvantage because of the twin tube, because of the shock, because of the design. It's a whole nother video. We've already covered it. Monotubes, in my opinion, are better. Until they make us run them, we'll never perfect them. If someday they go twin tubes everywhere, we'll perfect that deal and make it good. But right now we don't have to, and there's no need to. And so we don't. So base valve shocks, good. SRTs are good. Grip in the front of the car, it's a must. You don't have to drive the car around nose down, tail up. But if you do, it can be good that way. Okay? But it ain't associated with drive. It's full momentum. So if that's the car you desire, left rear hike, super important. Extended left rear hike, super important to not being tight on entry. Minimum posture change. Our good drivers right now are driving cars with minimum posture change. So think about it. So if you have questions, call the shop, 620-326-3152. Look us up on Facebook, the internet. Our information's on our web pages. A lot of good information on our websites. A lot of good information on our blogs. Of course, this YouTube channel. I enjoy you guys subscribing. I like the numbers. I like the algorithm. I like the analytics. So keep that part coming. Comment. Create a dialogue, because when two or more minds come together, they create a third. That's my motto. When two or more minds come together, it creates a third. This is how we get better. This is how we get smarter. This is how we solve problems. Racing, one huge problem, one huge science project that we are attempting to solve daily. So the secret of speed is in the corners, and it all starts on corner entries. So if you want to be fast, turn. Remember that. As always, people, go fast, go left. God bless you, and we'll see you the next time.